Welcome to Rock and Reddit. Let's get started. Pizza delivery, hotel workers, and housekeepers of Reddit. What is your not safe for work story? How would you rate it 1 to 10? Pizza delivery to a residency. Receipt says deliver to set. Now, I've been on a few student film sets before, and I have a pretty good layman's idea of the way things work, so I thought I'd ask what they were filming inside. It's this movie about these two cousins who fuck each other. They did not tip me. A few years ago, the hotel I was working at had a few jacuzzi suits. This man and woman check in and give a trashy vibe from the very beginning. We get through the check-in and everything is fine until a few hours later. I get a call from the room. The man is clearly intoxicated and begins his rant about how his air conditioning isn't working. I immediately roll my eyes and groan internally as 9/10 times people have a steaming hot bath and fail to realize that turning on the switch doesn't immediately create a winter wonderland. This is where I've been the general placating to resolve this as easy as possible. We don't have maintenance on hand at this time. However, I'd be happy to move you directly across the hall for the night. This isn't good enough. No. I want you to look at it. That's your job. Come look at it now. Well, technically he's right. However, he's drunk and calling someone an idiot when they're sober isn't the most fun experience to begin with. So, I make my way to his room, knock on the door and he opens the door. Bam. Blasted by the hot air immediately. Who knew? I immediately knew something wasn't right. The room was completely dark save a few flickering lights. My internal noppa node sensors were going off, and then I saw it. More than a dozen tea lights flickering in the room. A drunk man wearing leopard print undies. I walk inside and make my way to the air conditioner. I didn't get too far before I'm greeted by a woman on my right. She's friendly and polite and completely naked on top of the bed. I retain my professionalism, greeting her and making my way to the air conditioner. Sure enough, it's working fine. It's warm in the room because of the jacuzzi. I explained the situation to the man again. Your air conditioning seems to be fine, sir. All I can do at this point is move you across the hall. After some general rambling, the man leans in towards me and whispers in my ear, the general is at half salute tonight. Can you have sex with my wife for me? While he's explaining this to me, his wife is finding a more comfortable position on the bed. Now legs and vagina spread wide. I politely decline his offer and apologize being the Canadian that I am and return to the front desk and never heard from him for the rest of the month. The next night I came in I was presented with how did we do card where the comments stated they were very happy with their stay, although disappointed I didn't sleep with his wife. There was a guy who ordered the same way every week. You know who this is, Jim the usual, and then hangs up. His name was Ron, and his usual was a large, 14 inches, sausage pizza burned. Like theirs well done, where we make the cheese a uniform brown, but he wanted it further than that. Not literally black dust, but really dark all over. It was always delivery, and he tipped very well. Our drivers were drivers and order takers only. They didn't work other positions. I worked the oven and would only go on deliveries if we were behind on orders. One day in December I get the call from Ron and I say I know your address, but I've never been there. Is it easy to find? He replies it's the one with the reindeer fucking in the front yard. So I'm driving around these cookie cutter townhomes that all look the same. And sure enough, there's one with a decorative reindeer mounting another out front. I walk up to the door. This super tan Italian guy in a purple robe and leopard print briefs, because his robe was wide open, answers the door, shouts at me, you must be new. Here ya Gio, and throws a 20 at me. Bill was $13. This was in 2001. Only a 2/10 in terms of not safe for work stuff, but man that was a memorable delivery. Seeing this man in person, who I'd cooked pizza for every week for 2 years, was like seeing a centaur or unicorn. 10/10 as a customer though. Predictable, direct, kept it quick, tipped well. Used to do bicycle deliveries on the French Quarter in New Orleans. Frequently made deliveries to strippers while they're working. Sometimes you get a little behind the scenes view of the happenings between customers and strippers. Once handed food directly to a stripper while she was getting finger blasted, and she proceeded to hand me a tip from her bosom as though nothing was happening. I hope you washed your hands. Probably not what you came here to see. but I used to work at the front desk of a crappy, no pun intended, hotel. One day the housekeepers found a room where the occupants had taken a steamy hash to in the tub and turned the heat up to 90 before checking out. It was not safe to work in there. Definitely not safe for work. Posted before, but fits. Delivered pizza in Washington state back around 15 years ago and had several odd experiences. Most bizarre one I can remember, I was delivering several pizzas to a house, which came to a total of about $36. I walk up to the house, knock on the door, and a little kid answers the door. He hands me $40, takes the pizzas, and closes the door. I stood there for a moment and just figured they were giving me the rest as a tip and the parents were too lazy to get off the couch. I'm almost back at my car and I hear, "Hey pizza guy, get back here." I turn around and see crazy looking blonde lady in the door in a towel. I walk back and she starts into a rant about how I was trying to steal money from her kid. I explained to her that I just thought they were giving me the money as a tip, and if that was an issue, they can have it back. I gave her the $4 back, and after a bit more talking she ended up giving me $2 as a tip. Not that great, but better than having a pissed off customer. Thinking all was cool, I headed back to the shop. When I get back at the shop, my friend who was managing the shop was on the phone looking a bit pissed. I walk in, and he gets off the phone and explains that was the customer yelling at him about my behavior. I explain what happened, and we both figure they were crazy and continue on with the day. Fast forward 20 minutes, I have another order to take, and I'm putting more pizzas in my car. I go to leave, but there is this big ass pickup truck in the way. I go to the driver and ask if they could move, since I have pizzas to deliver. The driver responds, "Why? So you could rip more people off." I look closer, and in the passenger seat is the crazy lady now with crazy boyfriend driving. I go back into the shop and tell my buddy crazy people here to see us. My friend, being the hilarious guy he is, grabs paper and a pen and walks outside, very obviously writes down the guy's license plate and heads back inside, then proceeds to call the cops. Shortly after that they take off, but tried to follow me most of the night, but found it hard in their oversized redneck truck and me in a little sporty pizza mobile. TL. Dr. Don't deliver to crazy 4 out of 10. I delivered room service at a nice hotel back in 1990. One night I get a delivery for a bottle of high-end scotch to the penthouse suite. Great sailors, I get automatic 17% on all orders. So the door opens, and I get invited in. There are about 20 young Japanese men in the room, and they have one of the guys pinned down on the bed and are wailing away on his bare feet with a shoe. I see this and don't know whether to laugh on call security. They see the stunned look on my face and reassure me that this is a bachelor party tradition where they are from. Sounds reasonable to me, so I go about my way. On my way out, several of the guys discreetly slid 10s and 20s into my hand as tips. After a couple more deliveries that night, I walked with over $250 from that room alone. 10 to 10 would recommend. Old tradition in both Korea and Japan. It originally came from a kind of show of respect to the bride-to-be. All the unmarried men in the village were supposedly so disappointed that the most attractive unmarried girl was now spoken for, that they expressed their frustration by whacking the lucky groom around with their shoes. You don't see it much in Japan anymore, but I've handed out the occasional whacking at Korean weddings. Pizza delivery for 7 years. Fewer than 10 times did I see any noteworthy degree of nudity. Usually women who dance at the door in a towel or topless, but it wasn't the opening scene to porn that you're picturing. But once, I delivered pizza to an orgy in progress. If that's not a 10, I don't know what is, except that I didn't join in. This one time I delivered pizza to a couple who were having sex. Took a couple of minutes for the guy to get dressed. He comes to the door in some of his girlfriend's clothes. He gave me tips, and I apologized for interrupting. A few weeks later I had to deliver to the same house. This time the girlfriend came to the door. I smiled and said, "Oh, you're wearing your own clothes tonight." She looked confused, but her boyfriend was laughing behind her. A friend of mine works at a hotel. This guy called the front desk asking if they could fix the heater, which is a very common request, even though they are very easy to operate. She went up to his room and when she got there he had handcuffed himself to the bed and was naked. Guess he was confident she would go for him because he didn't have the key. She left him there with no key, but naked and didn't close the door all the way. The naked man, but with a twist. He should have known it only works 2 out of 3 times. I used to work in a hotel as the front desk supervisor. Please don't answer the door in a towel. Ask us to wait if you need to throw on some clothes real quick. I can't tell you how many times I'd brought something up to a room. The person answered the door in a towel and then accidentally dropped some or all of the towel reaching for whatever I've brought them. Please put some clothes on. The most not safe for work delivery I ever did was deliver to a couple in a hotel. The woman answered and paid wearing only panties and a tight-fitting t-shirt, and her chest was ginormous. Then she tipped $10. Due to how close this hotel was to the shop, that's basically a 10/10ths delivery. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment what your own insane pizza delivery / hotel worker / housekeeper stories down below. Have a fantastic day and don't let your memes be dreams.